I agree, I'm not disagreeing with
Yes,
the
yeah.
there's implication.
But in the main, if we can send those suggestions through,
Yeah,
we can definitely
yeah,
answer it, and
yeah,
that's definitely interesting about the trees though.
yeah.
Okay, bizarrely enough, I think that brings us to the tree
Well,
policy as well.
it's like,
So, actually, again, in the pack as well, this was an action for myself. And again, I'm not overly precious over it. I was just sort of like putting something together to, work with. Obviously, there's the actual statement. I'll just put a link next to it, so there's a link to the actual policy. And again, the actual statement that we do put, I think I've copied it correctly, but that may be incorrect. So just to double check on that. And people's thoughts and.
I think that was what I emailed Jim about, because when I read that, and I thought, well, what actually is the policy? So we've got the background and names, but I wasn't sure quite, other than what we've got at the moment, is the proposed change to the policy.
Sorry, I don't understand what you're saying, sorry.
Well, there's a background to having a policy, the aims of the policy, but I'm sorry, I didn't actually know quite what the policy was when I got that.
Chair, so when Andy emailed me earlier, he just asked if there was a second page to it, and I believe I printed it correctly. Was that
Yes,
what you said?
yeah, that's what comes through so far. So essentially, so there's a background to the policy, and then the aims would be for the policy to do the following. So yeah, that's what I was with.
I guess we kind of need a policy statement.
Maybe policy is the wrong word descriptive for it. Maybe it should be something, not a policy. You know what I mean? Something else. It could be a strategy or an aim or perhaps it's using the word policy that's throwing us off.
Yeah, it's missing the actual physical statement. So do accept that. So.
Or even just an implementation section. That's the aims, but how will we actually
whether that's the policies or
yeah.
So yeah, we can add that as an action then. To add what do we say?
Yeah, what
So we've got implementation. So to add an implementation.
Like that, to plant more trees throughout Ackworth, but how?
Yeah.
Looks like
Sure.
So second draft with an implementation.
Yeah. But aside from that, what's there as well? Any other comments on that? No? Okay. So, item 10 then. To receive a report from the councils of this committee regarding site visit completes of the village green trees and decide any action where appropriate for recommendation. I know that myself and Amanda, we did like a little site visit. We just took it upon ourselves to do, so it wasn't like an official thing. It was just more, I messaged Amanda, are you free to have a look at the green? There we go. I don't know if other councillors did as well. They may not have. Can I just double check, did I send my pictures through? I do have some pictures.
I've not seen them.
Okay,
No.
I must have forgotten to send those through. Essentially, the actual trees that are affecting the nearby houses, the actual trees don't go over the path that runs along the houses at the village green. We do accept that there is some interference on the actual telegraph poles that are up there and the wires that go through the trees. So, based on what we saw there, some cut back there to make sure that there isn't damage to those, it would be our suggestion. And maybe a bit of trimming off the top, but we don't want to damage the look of the village green. There is a bit of, the trees were there before the houses, and it's a bit like just because the houses are down there, we should just chop down the trees, you know, and it's weighing up those sort of arguments and that sort of thing. And in the main, our recommendation would be to just see some trimmed off, and specifically the interference with the telegraph poles and the wires running from them. So that would be,
It's just to confirm, so from yourself and Councillor Cook,
yeah,
your recommendations would be to trim back any branches interfering with telephone lines
yes.
and any general maintenance of overhanging branches or
There
get
are-
I suppose I would say it's not so much over. The one bit I did think is all right at the moment, but might be an issue if you come from Featherstone and you turn right to come to this end of the village. The give way sign is okay at the minute, but when you get leaves on, I think you might find that it's a bit obscured on the give way sign, so there's a bit of a... That was the only one in particular
Yeah.
I thought, but my thought was...
I mean, I know
a bit
this-
like you did, a general tidy up, really.
Yeah, the general tidy up on things like interfering with the signs
Yeah.
and telegraph poles. Yeah, I mean, this site visit was following an email from a local resident that was basically talking about the trees encroaching on the houses there. Personally, I don't think they do. Because they don't
I didn't realise, because I wasn't at the last meeting, I didn't
Yeah.
realise that was what somebody had
Sorry,
said. But
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I wouldn't have said they were encroaching. I guess they must take light. But it was as I say, the only
Oh,
specific
sorry.
was the giveaway sign. But they're a bit scruffy in the summer, I suppose. You know, it's
Yeah.
hard to tell.
I'm just bringing Sarah.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously trees grow, but we did have them looked at not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
And the view was that they were not, they were not encroaching onto the houses really. So maybe, and I do know, bearing in mind we've gone through the budget, tree work is expensive. And so to get crown thinning done, for example, on those trees would cost several £100s. So just something to bear in mind, if we get to that point of doing it.
So just to add a few bits together and
Yeah.
sew it up. So there's two residents that live in the area of vicinity of the village green. They are in regular communication, but they have been for a number of years, even when Sue was Claire. And I believe my understanding is the encroaching is the height of the tree and the daylight that it's taken from their properties. That's the main thing that they've popped in the emails to me is about the height, the daylight. And then the most recent concern that they've raised is about the storms and about if one was to come down, it would be a considerable amount of damage due to the height of the trees. Like Councillor Balfour said, we do have in place assessments that are completed on our trees, and they're completed on a regular cycle, and any recommendations are always brought to council for council to review. And for those particular trees, there isn't any immediate risk concerns that have come up, which is why it's been brought back to council as a residents' correspondence.
Okay, Nathan.
You said they were encouraged to do it on the telegraph lines. If the branch came off and took the telegraph lines with it, would we then be liable for the damage to the telegraph lines? So I can imagine that being quite a lot more expensive than...
I don't know if it still applies. I remember my mum saying that Telecom knocked on her door once and said, our telephone wire was interfering with your tree. Do you mind if we cut your tree back?
Yeah, just from the experience, the telephone line to our house goes through neighbours' trees, and it did come down, and Telecom BT just came out and fixed it. It wasn't anybody's liability or anybody's cost. They just came out and fixed it.
Just in answer to the question, if there's a branch that's encroaching on any tree on any telephone line, the engineer has the right to cut it immediately. They don't even have to contact the parish council to cut it. They cut them.
Right.
So I suppose, well, what I'm going to suggest then is, I didn't realise I haven't sent photos, but I'll send the photos that I've taken from that. I have taken where the line is a little bit under pressure, I would say. It's only one that goes to one of the houses anyway, and that can be reviewed, sent forward to the telecom company. And
Well, I say it's it to BT if they want to come out and cut it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I
thank you
think
very much. You're welcome to do it.
Yeah.
So is it just BT or would I get S&D landscape out as well?
If it's
To review.
if it is a BT issue, leave it to them.
So just to clarify, if they come out to do their work and it's encroaching, they will cut it. I don't think they deal with requests coming in the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
No.
try, I'm happy to try, but I don't want to be quoted as BT will definitely cut it down.
No, as you say, it's a
Sarah.
it must be.
I mean, it may sound a bit brutal, but as far as danger from large trees and inconvenience, we're a village full of lovely trees, aren't we? And,
Yeah.
you know, half the properties in the village would be, could ask for that to be applied, couldn't they? Really?
That's one we pay
So,
shoulders, isn't
I know
it?
it's annoying
Yeah.
and inconvenient, but I don't think it's something that we
Yeah.
should take on as doing something about.
So just for clarity, is it BT only at the moment?
And so the only thing I would say is that maybe it's Wakefield Highway is just to watch that give way sign. But I don't know if that needs us or Wakefield Highway is going on.
So that is slightly separate, I can report that through to
Yeah.
so I have to do that on
It's
station.
fine at the minute, but I could just see that.
Yeah, as it starts moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it on separately.
Well, I would say with the telegraph poles, I would say I'll send the pictures through and, you know, send them, we can review that before sending it to BT, would we prefer that?
Yeah.
So I'll send the pictures through, we can review it some more and does that seem fair to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so I'll move on to item 11 there. It's alright with everyone. To receive correspondence from residents regarding Wakefield Road crossing and decide any actions where appropriate for recommendations. So these came in, have you had these in email form as well? Or was it just the letters that?
It's a mixture, so from resident
A mixture.
1, it was from letter 4, and I attached and responded by email and copied you in. And then resident 2 and resident 3, they're on email form.
Yeah. And so again, they're in the pack, so comments on those ones, please. Sarah,
Yeah, just so that it's several letters but from 3 different people, is that right? Resident 1 who sent 4 complementary items of correspondence, resident 2 and resident 3, and they say the one on the back is that
That's still from resident 3.
that's from resident 3, right? Okay. I mean, first of all, these certainly from resident 1, as I can see, they contain incorrect information. As you are public servants and have a duty to the residents of Ackworth and receive remuneration for this. You know, there's a lot of yeah, so I think those things do need to be challenged, really, challenged. And I think there was, and then the next letter from the same person, or is it on that one, where it says, I want to know what you're going to do about getting it changed. Was that the third one? May I ask when is the Parish Council going to take some responsibility and either move this crossing or upgrade it to a pelican crossing? Well, we don't have, you know, it's not our crossing. We don't have that power. And I did think when I read it through earlier, wasn't there some reference to the role of the council as well, suggesting the parish council, suggesting that the parish council was instrumental in getting the zebra crossing put where it was and the pelican crossing stopped, which again, as has been publicly said many times, is, I may be wrong, but it's incorrect, perhaps I'm wrong. So I'm holding the parish council personally responsible for this. I mean, really, it's not correct, and I think that's just from resident one though. But I do think those points of view need to be tackled and corrected because they just are not correct. We were certainly instrumental in pushing for a proper crossing, but it's not our crossing, and we gave our views, but the decision wasn't ours, and the decision to change it from a pelican crossing by the 6 shops to a zebra crossing in its current location wasn't our decision either. And we took no part in that really.
The only, I will just add that the only intervention that the parish council did do is when a resident did come to the parish council to say they hadn't been consulted. And we asked Wakefield Council what had their consultation been, and when they said nothing, we asked them to consult. That is the only thing that has been done, and I think it's the right of anybody to at least, especially if you're affected there, like it has been with some of the pubs on licensing and so on. I think they've gone out, so people are allowed to express their opinion, but the decision is not with this parish council. Nor do we have responsibility for it, nor could we get it implemented and changed or whatever. Totally echo what you're saying there.
Can I just, sorry, thank you. I'd just like to remind the committee of an action that has been taken. It might help with this communication. So at the November meeting, there was a motion that was put on the agenda, and as part of the action off the back of that, what has been done already is we have, as Ackworth Parish Council, contacted Wakefield Council to investigate the possibility of upgrading the recently installed zebra crossing on Wakefield Road to a light controlled puffing crossing, because that was the first part of the motion, and that's been action, so we've sent that email. And the second part of that was further in addition, we'd like to ask Wakefield Council to install more crossings in Ackworth. So we'd identified at the November meeting Wakefield Road, Doncaster Road, Barnsley Road as outlined in the original road safety plan. So we have already actioned something on that that's live at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think it's certainly resident for maybe another one that has made as well. Does raise the issue of no signage warning of the new crossing, which is a valid point. I think maybe something we should take up with Wakefield Council to make sure it's properly safe. It's in any other one, I think it was in another one as well.
Again, any
There's two
other comments?
Just, I was wondering, can we not put a post on Facebook for the Parish Council page? Because people have obviously got a right to have these opinions, and they're quite scary experiences. But they need to be going to the right place, the people that can actually, that need to hear this, to actually pull things out and do something about it. So
I can just
put a post and say, this is where you can direct your concerns about crossing.
I can just add that every single person that's emailed in, it has also been reported to Wakefield Council as well.
So I've not reported these letters to Wakefield Council, but I advise the residents and give the residents all of the contact information they would need to report it. If you wanted me to contact Wakefield Council off the back of these letters, that would be a recommendation from this committee
I think
to supply these.
that would be a recommendation, please, if that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, but I think if we can save Gemma time about putting the post out
Yeah,
and
as
say,
well,
this is where you can direct your concerns to.
Sarah?
Yeah, again back to the misconceptions and untruths really, but this is a misunderstanding from resident 1. In the 4th letter, the resident says, I have now contacted the police and they have told me to report it to my local council, you. So we are not, the police may have said local council, but we don't have responsibility, it's Wakefield Council at that. So, that's another misconception that needs to be corrected really. We are not the responsible body. It doesn't mean to say we don't care, but we have no powers and we're not responsible. We're only responsible insofar as we can use the powers of lobbying really that we have to get some action.
Okay, so far we've got one recommendation, which is to certainly all this correspondence to be reported to Wakefield Council and essentially reported to them. So that's a proposal of a recommendation. Can I get a seconder for that? Sarah seconded. I'll take a vote in favour of that recommendation. 4-5.
Jim, did we hear anything back from Wakefield Council after the request for the November meeting?
Not yet.
No.
It was actions after Christmas.
Right.
There were a backlog of actions, but not yet.
I think that's, the immediate thing is whether they would consider an upgrade, isn't it? Which would be the logical.
It should be just because when I did the road safety plan as well, there is a difference between Pelican and Puffin crossing as well.
Puffin is better than Pelican, definitely, isn't it?
Well, Pelican's for both cyclists and pedestrians, whereas a Puffin is designed purely for pedestrians only. That's the main difference. And then obviously you've got a equestrian crossing that takes into account horses as well. So you could go full hog if you really wanted, but I'm not sure horses are crossing there. So.
Do you mind if I just give a round-up on what I've got so far as
Yeah,
actions, just so that I'm not lost? So, as an official recommendation, we have notifying WMBC in a report form of the correspondence we received from the residents, and that's obviously had its votes, that's fine. I will standard go back to these residents so that they have been reviewed, and I'm going to note any misinformation that's been stated in here and correct that on behalf of what the role of APC is, where it needs to be corrected, so I'll do that as part of the response. I will report as a separate to Wakefield Council an inquiry about signage for the crossing, and leave that with them to obviously action if it needs to happen or not. And again, under our social media policy, I can take obviously feedback from any councillors and post. So what I'm going to do is put a post on Facebook in the coming weeks about if anyone has any concerns on highways, how they would correctly report any highways concerns.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, sounds
does
good.
that seem
Yeah.
okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Any other? Okay, I'll end it there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
On the
I'm interested in how
On the-
stuff like
I'll send you the links.